What's the significance of talking about Che? I see your eyes are widening.
Well, certainly he was a revolutionary thinker. And the example that exists right now in Cuba in terms of culture, certainly I believe that it's a great example for any country on the African continent.
Yeah. Why is it relevant now, particularly in this current environment where we have many of the ideas that were set up during and after the Second World War being questioned? Like, for instance, the supposed success of capitalism that's being questioned now. Socialism, we do know, has been discredited large and by. Why does he make sense now?
He makes sense because particularly we're talking about we are existing in a developmental economy.
Yeah.
And when you look at the inefficiencies that we have in our society.
Yeah. Do you think the answers are in there?
Certainly I do.
You've read the book?
Yes.
What's your sense?
My feeling is that in terms of just delivering on literacy, Cuba certainly has a lot to teach us.
Okay.
When you talk about the integration of culture in the society, certainly Cuba has a lot to teach us.
Right.
And in your intro, you spoke about him as a Bolivian. He is Cuban, born in Argentina. He was killed in Bolivia.
Bolivia.
He was killed in Bolivia.
I'm going to have to kill my producer because he fed me wrong information. Okay, so you brought out the new book now.
Yes.
What's in it, actually? What does it cover?
Certainly a list of letters that Che sent to either Fidel Castro, his family, his children.
Right.
Also some essays that he presented to the United Nations, some speeches that he delivered in Algeria. He touches on the time that he was in Africa, in Tanzania.
What does he say?
What does he say?
Yes, when you were about his time in Africa.
Well, I don't think he has very positive aspects to talk about.
It was a very different Africa, wasn't it?
Oh yes, absolutely, some 50 years later.
Yeah, It'd be interesting what his observations would be about Africa. But let's move on from Che and talk about publishing in Africa now. We know the publishing industry has been under pressure because of the coming of the internet, because of technology, because of the tablets and all these other gadgets that our children and ourselves, dare I say, are being converted to. Do you see the end of the book as you hold right there in front of you because of the new age that's coming through, particularly from a business perspective where you are now?
Well, we talk about our children having the tablet. You know, it's not all the children that have the tablet.
At the moment.
The reality is the majority really don't even have internet connection. That is what we are faced with.
Sure.
You know, that's still the reality. And if we're talking about 2% that has the tablet, you know, that's really not my market.
So it's not a threat at the moment, you're saying?
It's not a threat at the moment.
When will it be a threat, do you think? How far along the road are we?
I don't think one should ignore the threats. But the reality on the grassroots, at the grassroots level, is that we are a long way from there.
Do you know what I worry about? I worry about my children. For instance, I've got a teenage daughter, and one of the things we struggle with is getting her to understand and to want to read like we did, and to develop their thinking and intellectual capacity. Because of these new gadgets and tablets that we have, so much time is spent looking at those things. There's very little time for that book.
Not only that, there's also the way in which they spell. You know, that is a huge
no
problem.
Discipline. There's no rigor that's put into those efforts.
Absolutely. Everything has been shortened. And as a result, I mean, when you actually, you know, I'm an employer, and when you employ people, people can't spell. And you're wondering, my
and
gosh.
you are in publishing.
And I'm in publishing, so where do I go from there? So yeah, it is a huge problem. I still believe that there's a long way ahead still for the book.
So how do we make publishing relevant to today's generation and make sure that they still read the book, perhaps not so much as holding the physical book, but perhaps being able to still get to the contents of the book?
Publishing still is relevant. You know, I work with schools, certainly in Soweto. I have an office in Tanzania. I travel quite extensively, you know, whether it's the DRC, Ghana. So, yes, publishing the book still is relevant because people still want to take it home and still, you know, page the pages and do the research.
Is that across Africa?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Are there parts where this is beginning to change? Like here in South Africa, I'd imagine with self and penetration rates of more than 100%, and now you've got the internet spreading a little bit, you're getting internet in the schools and in all those other communities. I know what you're going to say. In rural parts, it's not yet there, but...
I still believe that, you know, if you're looking at Wikipedia, it's a starting point for research. It cannot be the extent of the research. You still have to go back and look at books.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's made relevant.
Yes, very much so.
Rose, thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.